Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Next Rank YouTube channel with Johnny and Jack. Today we're going to be answering some members' questions that have been in the Discord over the past couple of weeks, actually in some cases I think months, because we've been pretty busy. Jack's been busy with RLCS, but now you've got a bit of a gap between now and your next RLCS. Or is RLCS even the next event for you? Is there another one?
I think RLCS
FIFA E, right?
Oh yeah, I've got FIFA E. Yeah, I will have FIFA E at certain points, and then RLCS 1v1 I think is the next one.
1v1.
Don't
yeah,
sign
that's
up
in
for
June.
that, but yeah.
Yeah, you do, definitely. So
I'm not playing RLCS 2s because I'm on a trip after Paris. For some reason,
holiday.
Me and Johnny are going away.
We've got a next rank business trip after Paris, but we didn't even notice it was on the RLCS 2's weekend.
Yeah,
so
we did.
Can't read that a little bit. But oh no, it's on the 2's qual, isn't it?
I don't know why. Yeah, I was unlucky, but oh well.
Yeah, all good though. So anyway, that's all to say we can answer some questions now that have been popping up in the Discord from the members section. Now you can find the link to the Discord in the description if you're interested in joining.
Wait, Johnny, real quick.
Are from members.
We are going to be in person. Let us know if you want to see anything, any type of in-person content in Paris. We already have a couple plans. We'll see if we can pull them off.
We do.
They're not like, you know, it might not happen, but we're fingers crossed, and we're going to try and make it work. But yeah, let us know if you'd like to see anything. We're looking at a couple of things. But yeah, let's get into this.
Next rank in-person content. Yeah,
maybe some in-person interviews with who knows. We'll see.
Yeah, who do you want us to talk to? Who do you want us to talk to and grab?
Don't
tell them. We don't want to let them know that we're coming for them.
We've got two people here, so you know I'm not the strongest, but Johnny's got a bit of muscle to him. You know, we can get anyone that you guys want. All right, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't think anyone in the Rock League scene's too imposing. We can get them and lock the door.
Yeah, two of us. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's coming up. Today we're going to be answering some questions, like I said, and Jack's going to be in free play for a couple of the answers to show some things. So let's just jump straight in here. First, we're starting off with Zinc, who's got a couple of things for us here. I'll go through the bullet points. First thing he wants us to know is he overthinks a lot. So Zinc says, I overthink a lot. He doesn't know why. He says, well, I'll just read it actually as he said it. I don't know why, but when I watch TempoH's free play, it looks like the craziest free play I've ever seen. So he's a big fan of Tempo in free play. And we both agree with that statement. He's recorded some free play clips for us to show how he trains free play specifically, and he wants to realize that everyone has to find their own way to train specific things in games or mechanics. So these two clips show how he normally trains. He's asked Jorias about this as well, and Jorias says he needs to play free play with intention. So let's look at the free play clips.
Yeah, got them up here,
let's see what we're looking at here, Jack.
Okay, so Joris says he needs to play free play with intention. That is correct. So I presume that this is what he's kind of trying to do here, I guess. I mean, playing free play like with intention is important. I wouldn't like keep it, you know, really strict with what you're trying to do if you're trying to become more fluid. Does he say anything else? I think I actually read this question last night, Johnny.
Yes. It says 1850 peak.
Yeah.
So just shy of SSL, I believe. Or is that SSL? No, it's not quite.
I think it's 1875 SSL if I'm not wrong. But yeah, something like that. It's very close.
Very close to SSL. Okay. So that would be a cool achievement to reach.
Yeah.
And he also says that he thinks he can achieve a faster he wants to achieve basically faster and better mechanics that are dangerous like TempoH's. And his goal, short-term goal 1900, long-term goal 2.1. A much higher rating. Speaking specifically to that, we think that you definitely need to keep your goals. We've talked about this in multiple videos and in the course itself, but you want to keep your goals quite near to you,
very close,
especially rank goals, for two reasons. Firstly, it's more achievable, so if you do end up losing rating, which happens all the time, it doesn't put the goal that you've got ridiculously out of reach. And it also means that you get to have more wins, you get to experience more successes along your journey. If your goal at 1850 is to hit 2.1, 2.2, then you're missing out on the immediate goal in front of you, which should feel like a big success, and that's SSL. It's not even 1900, it's 1880 or 1888, like you said. So the small goals are really good because it gives you more things to aim for, more successes along the way, which gives you more motivation. But yeah, overall, Jack, you've been watching the free play.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the intentions aspect of it, first of all? Obviously, we're looking at a very mechanical player. Yeah,
I would say he's got good mechanics for his level. I mean, GC3, high GC3, it's a high rank in general, so a lot of players are going to have good mechanics at that rank. But yeah, I think it looks like quite a fluid player. Clearly, that's his focus, I think, when he's playing the game, is being that style of player. Playing free play with intention, it's very important. I would say... I mean, look, these are short clips. Like we're trying to judge an entire player off of 2 minutes worth of free play that we've got here. But first off, yeah, Johnny's correct. I would say shorten the scope of what we're trying to go for in terms of rank. 2100, that's a long way away. Keep it very close with what we're trying to achieve. Which you did mention 1900, but let's get SSL kind of thing first. And then with our free play, we have to be intentional with what we're trying to do. I don't know if we are though with what this free play looks like. So I'm going to go into it and explain. Like here, for example, okay, so we have to be intentional with what we're trying to do. We're trying to go for a we're trying to hit this ball to the ceiling. It seems like off the wall touch. Maybe we don't hit it as hard as we'd like. The ball doesn't drop as quickly, but this is also fine. Once we get this reset, we try to just like instantly flip into another reset. If you've got to imagine free play as if it's a game scenario, Johnny, right? That's what we have to imagine. You have to imagine that there's a player on the backboard, let's say, that's waiting for your play. He's waiting for you to make your play and defending. You have to imagine what you're actually trying to do in the game. Would we try and go for a double reset? It doesn't make sense to do it in the game. So why would we do it in free play? And I think you have to be very careful with what Joris is trying to say, being intentional in free play. You have to be very careful with this small, very, very small autopilot moments like this. I think this is an autopilot moment where we try and go for another reset. That's what it seems like we try and do anyway, because we're intentionally flipping early to this is a double reset type of flip to get underneath the ball like this. That's not useful in this position, right? So we actually have to make sure we're making plays. If we're trying to be intentional, we have to make sure we're making plays that we would actually try and make in game. And if you would try and make that play in game, well, there is your actual issue, right? That's a decision-making error. If you think that is the best play to make in that situation, I would personally disagree, and that's where the issue is. And then when we watch the rest of the free play, we'll kind of see certain moments where we start just going for flicks at the end of this. I think the important thing is if you're trying to improve a certain aspect of your game, you have to stick to it. Okay, that's what I would personally say. We start just randomly like going for flicks at the end of this free play clip.
Which could be it could be a demonstration, maybe. Yeah.
That's fine if you it could be. But he said this is how I usually play free play, I think, right?
Yeah.
If
I'm just saying it could be extrapolated. If this is like a quick, 1 minute look at what would be over 20 minutes, then that's great. Picking a couple things and working on them for longer times. But yeah, I agree.
I would stick with something. I would stick with something like 5 minutes. If you're trying to work on a very specific thing, stick with it for a little bit of time because your brain, you start to just piece things together. You need time to figure out what's going wrong, what's going right, and then fix the thing that's going wrong. Keep on doing the things that you're doing correct. You need a bit of time to be able to do that. Switching up and going from one thing to the other, it might suit some people. It won't suit everyone, and maybe that's what we can mess around with. At very high rank, when you see pros play free play, you'll probably be questioning me because we just do everything. It does. I think it gets a little bit different at high rank because you're trying to. I mean, there's not many things we have to improve on specifically, and it becomes very flow in terms of piecing one thing to the next. And that's what pro free play looks like. It's very fluid, and you're just moving from one mechanic to the next one with as little time in between. That's what most free play in
so you're saying it could look like the pro play free play could look like it's just completely random. It could look like but there actually is an intention behind.
There's an intention.
Happening.
It's not as specific as you, and it doesn't need to be as specific anymore. Once you get to pro level. You go through at least I do. I mean, every player is different, but you go through periods of okay, I'm not good at this thing. Let's spend a bit of time working on it. But a lot of your free play just becomes very speed focused and like movement and recovery kind of aspect, which you actually a lot of players do in their rank up kind of journey, I guess. But a lot of the time, their time should be spent on just focused on a specific mechanic and nailing it down for 10 minutes. At least that's how I view improvement. I think most players going through the ranks should spend they should block their free play in segments. And one segment can just be, this segment now is just complete flow. I'm not like, keeping on taking this ball into a flick in. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm just going into a flick, onto the wall, to the ceiling, and just over and over again. Sometimes I'm booming the balls. But that can be one segment of free play. I do think that we need to block it and keep certain segments specific to certain mechanics, if that makes sense.
Okay, so Jack's back in free play now, and we've also noticed from Zinc one comment that he added on, which we think is interesting, is he's got both directional air rolls bound, and he doesn't have the standard air roll bound. So his only way to air roll is directional, which is fine. But he goes on to explain that while he uses both directional air rolls for air roll shots and ground mechanics, maybe half flips for example, he doesn't use the air roll right directional bind in the air, which is probably just a practice thing. So obvious thing to say there is it would be worth practicing just full right air roll in the air. I mean, you're going to see benefits from that, because in some situations it is better to use right instead of left, especially at this level. But Jack, what would you have you gone through that same process? I know a lot of pros started off, most pros started off with normal air roll, and they added in one direction and then the other later.
Yeah. I started off with that. So when I started playing the game, everyone just had default air roll bound. I don't think air roll left and right wasn't even a thing. I think back then, and then they added it. I added air roll left just to be able to do this movement because it was cool in the post celebration screen. That's legitimately the reason I remember doing it. And because I also wanted to learn how to like stall like that for the post celebration screen. So that's the only reason I bound that air roll at the start. And then over time, I would mess around with it in game. Like if I was like, let's say I made my play in offense and I was leaving, and let's say I was like, trying to land off the wall, I would just use my square, which is my arrow left, to land, like that, to make sure I'm correct in my car and land. And over time, you then sometimes do it on, on like an arrow shot, like this. If I'm trying to rotate slightly to the left, I'll do it like that, And over time, you just use it over time, piecing it together, and then you might try it in the air a little bit, and you're just getting better and better. And that's how I learned how to arrow left. So then I would predominantly use arrow left, directional arrow left, and then if I needed to arrow right in the air, I would use my default arrow, which is my L1 button, to arrow right. And then eventually, I actually bound arrow right directional once I went pro. I just spent like a few days learning it, and I got it down. Wasn't as good as my left, but still good enough to use. And then since then, it's been about 6 years since then. I've been all three. I use all three arrows. Okay. The issue with Zinc's this part of the question from Zinc is that you don't have default arrow. You only use arrow left in the air, so you actually can't arrow. You can't arrow to the right at all in the air. That's a really big problem. We can't turn to the right whatsoever. That's like
it's air steer. I guess.
We steer slightly, and he does do that.
The car to the right. Yeah,
in his clips, he does slightly do that at times, but it's not the same. It's not the same. You can't rotate to the right. We need to be able to do that. You're completely limiting yourself. So that is actually that's the immediate thing that sticks out to me. You don't have to, improve arrow right to the point where it's as good as your arrow left. You can still have kind of a predominant arrow that you go. Preference.
Because sometimes the ball's in front of you, you could use either.
Absolutely,
and it doesn't really matter which one. You can go your strong one.
In that instance, I would always go to arrow left. That's never changed for me. Like it will never change. It's just like.
I'm also an arrow lefter, just because I know people want to know that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
people try to emulate my gameplay here too, Jack. So I'm also arrow left.
Yeah,
just for the people to know.
It's just arrow left people are a bit more better, I would say. Than arrow right.
A bit more better, yeah.
Yeah, a
bit more better, a bit more smarter,
a bit more smarter, a bit more more intelligent, and we're just we're just a bit more bad. So we need to keep that class. Don't get to error right. You can add it to your game, but don't become an error writer. They're a little weird.
Don't go all the way.
They're a little strange. We
made it to the right versus left. We need to do the topic. But anyway, it does fit the theme very well because this is intentional.
Yeah,
because
it is.
if one thing you can go into free play and do now is be intentional with going for aerial right
Learn
in positions
aerial right.
where you probably know yourself if you're this.
But don't go all the way.
Yeah, don't completely change who you are as a Rocket League player, but you will know there's some situations where you wish you could aerial right more, and you'll know, aerial right would be better here, but here I am trying to get around the ball another way because I just feel more comfortable doing this. So you need to just go and force yourself.
Yes.
Free play is the perfect place to do it.
Free play,
you're not going to lose
maps,
games, you're not going to lose ranks, and also just practice those. After a bad first touch, don't try and, like Jack said, salvage it with a million resets. Yep. Just actually play like you would in the game. Get behind the ball.
Lastly, I know we spent a long time on this first question. Lastly, Tempo is very specific movement to hit himself. He just moves a specific way from what I see. I think he spent so much time in workshop maps, like specifically like movement workshop maps.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I swear I see it in this gameplay. Me and Joy like talked about it all the time. And we think that, like, or at least I kind of like, I was like, I swear it just looks like he spent so much time in movement maps. And I mean, look on the right side of my screen here, he has the world record in this map here. And so if you want to become like him, you kind of have to like spend so much time in well, you don't have to, but like doing movement maps can help. I do think that's like a big kind of point to what makes him him. But you have to find your own thing.
It's good to have that inspiration. I don't think it's a bad thing to a player that you're trying to emulate, because obviously you can't just jump straight up to being the same level. But that's a cool player to choose. I think he plays a very nice to watch brand of Rocket League. Very cool style. So I like your choice there. Okay, on to question 2. I know we're on question 2. What is it?
I know. We're like 15 minutes into
the video. So question 2. But we got 5 questions here. The other ones are a bit shorter, so we will get through these. Liu, I'm not sure how to say your name. Sorry about that. But he says, "Hey, people, got a question. It might sound dumb, but it's a serious question that I want to get your advice or opinions on. Where do you focus your eyes mostly in game? Do you put if you were going to put a percentage on it, is it 80% of the car, 20% of the ball, etc.? I think those are just random suggestions to illustrate what he means. But what do you look at or focus on? And is that even something I'm adding on here? Is that even something you should be conscious of, Jack?
It's just like 90% is the ball, right? Like I'd be lying if I was telling you that I'm looking at like this and that. You are looking at it, but it's your
peripheral
vision. You have to like look at the ball mainly. I mean, that's like the most important thing in the game. So you're going to be kind of paying attention to that. And then like you're just getting a little bit of information from your peripheral vision of other things. You do have to be aware of them, and you have to like train that kind of aspect to make sure you're understanding what what you're seeing out the corners of your eyes and stuff. How do you train that? For me, it was always just about being aware of it. I know that sounds like
it's like being intentionally conscious of the fact that
you have to be.
There's an opponent just went that way. That means he's behind me. He might come and demo me in his rotation back. Just being aware of that can make you avoid the potential demo, as an example. Where you look though, I don't think you need to stare at the player who's out of the game and make sure that you're not being demoed. That would be a mistake. That would be a bit too much.
I always think it's like a bad answer to just say like, oh, well, you just have to be like aware of it. Like, I don't think it's a great answer, but it's kind of how you do train that aspect of your like game. You just have to consciously, like Johnny said, see where the opponent is and think about like the timing of when they're going to arrive at certain spots. But when you're in game, 100%, you're just looking at the ball mostly. You're looking at the ball. If the opponent's in the air, it's hard to demonstrate this without having an opponent, but like if the opponent's in the air, like air dribbling at you like this, you're obviously watching the movements of their car as well, in relation to the ball. Like you have to see are they slowing down?
Is it like to read it to the next touch, basically?
It's to read like
all about where
it's
the
to
ball's
read
going.
the next touch, but it's yeah. For example, at high level, like if they're doing this and if the balls separate from their car, their next play is most likely a reset, right? And you have to understand the timing of that. That's going to come with experience in the game, but you're still looking pretty much at the ball. I've actually got a video. If you're really intrigued, I've got a video with an eye tracker on my channel. Yeah, I think I made it like 2-3 years ago now, but I've got a video with an eye tracker, and it's a very boring video because I didn't. It helped me understand that I actually just look at the ball for 99% of the game, like 99% of the game, and the other 1% is legit. Like, and I like slightly flick my eye to the right
glance,
to see a boost or to see a car. For it's like not even a split, like for less than a fraction, the smallest fraction of a second. Like it's absolutely insane. Like it's
so you're literally ball chasing, and now we're promoting ball chasing, which is what the course is all about.
Yeah, the course is about ball chasing. Yeah, we've got we've got videos about ball chasing. So yeah,
but obviously when you turn off ball cam is probably the times you're not looking at the ball because the ball's not on your screen. So some players
my neck to see it still.
Yeah, some people, especially new players, they don't like playing with ball cam on because they feel like they're better without it. Obviously, they're just not aware yet that they're better with ball cam on. But when you get familiar, when you get past those really early ranks, and you start turning ball cam off to maybe check and see if an opponent's coming to demo you, or check exactly where they are because it's hard to read where they are to be precise, and to check and see if a boost is there before you flip in that direction. You can actually look in those specific areas, but not for too long. You definitely just want to take a quick glance. Okay, the boost is up, or okay, now I can see it's respawning with the new update, or that
How long are we going to say new update, by the way? That update's been out for like 3 months, I think, or like 2 months.
I'm just showing my age. Like for me, it feels like a
no,
week ago,
I think it's horrible. That's another tangent. I think they need to get rid of that. I need an option to be able to turn it off.
Get rid of aging. I agree.
Yeah, aging. Yeah, that as well. But no, the boost.
Oh, you don't like the boost thing? I think I like it.
Okay, I think it's objectively a good idea. Like I think it's good, but I would love to have an option to turn it off because I swear
turn it off, right.
I just like stand on it for like 5 seconds because I think it's about to spawn. It's just not.
This has happened. Yep, I've heard other people say this.
My timing. Most pros I've spoken to have said the same thing. I've
only time has gotten worse.
My time has gotten so much worse. I used to be so good at like timing boosts. I've gotten so much worse because now I can like see it, and it completely throws me off. With like, I don't have to have like an internal clock anymore, which is actually another. I know we're on a bit of a tangent, but it's kind of a point to your question. Yeah, like we said, most of the time you should be looking at the ball, but you have to have an internal kind of block with everything that's happening around you. Maybe not the boost anymore because you have a visual now. I still think you should have a bit of an internal clock with what's when they're spawning, but especially with players going out of your screen, you have to keep a certain tab on them in your mind of like, okay, they're about to like come onto my screen in 2 seconds. If they don't, that probably means they're behind you. You need to like now look at them behind you to be wary of a demo, because if they've not come to your screen to the side, you've got to be very careful of that. So yeah, long story short, just look at the ball.
Stare at the ball.
Yeah, stare at the ball.
Last thing I want to say about that is sometimes it's detrimental to look away from the ball. Sometimes you think you're being smart by looking to see where the goalie is, or looking to see where the defender's jumping from to challenge you, and then you're up for a rebound or an aerial or a double tap or something, and then they miss, and now you miss as well because you tried to overthink their potential for touching the ball, and it would have been smarter to just completely ignore them and stare at the ball. So you might even need to stare at the ball more than you think, more than what it sounds like we're telling you to do.
All the other information that you're going to get is from just from peripheral vision. Like it's just from like the outskirts of what you're seeing, and you will. I mean, you're already doing it. Like the reason you asked this question is because you probably already are looking at the ball, and you're like, maybe I'm doing this too much. But yeah, like Johnny said, maybe not enough. Who knows? Yeah, I wouldn't stare at opponents. You're gonna miss what happens on the ball, which at the end of the day is the only important thing really in the game, right?
That's right. Okay, let's get to the next question from Agonize. He says, "Hey, I've got a question for GC1 plus 3's gameplay rotations." Okay, so we're GC in 3's. If my team is on defense and I'm in net, we have one person ball side and another person coming from far post. Does it make more sense for the person in net to leave?
Sorry, can you repeat? Sorry, I'm completely lost.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll read it again. I'll keep going until we get a full picture, but we'll break it down. So we've got one person in net. I think, well, we're in net. Agonize in net.
Yeah, we're in net.
We've got one person coming from far post. I think that means our far post. One person ball side. And the question is, wait, where was I again? Does it make more sense for the person in net to leave and go for the ball and have the far side person go into net? Or does it make more sense for the far side person to cut the goalie and go for the ball, leaving the goalie to stay in net?
Right.
So we're in the net, so this is where we are. And then we've got a teammate at the back post.
Yeah.
And the play is near post, and our other teammate must just be like out of the game, or
I presume he means like this. So let's say the ball is actually in a perfect spot. So let's say the ball is here. There's an opponent behind the ball, in this position with the ball, and then our teammate, we've got a teammate here grabbing this boost. He's ball side. Like let's say he's looking for a demo,
coming back,
and then he's going to come back. Maybe he might go back post. He might go for a demo. Who knows? We're here like this. We're like this.
Yeah.
And then we've got a teammate behind us, and this teammate is like, he's clearly been cut off by his teammate.
His teammate's dove in the corner, and he's like, whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah. Okay, the answer is it depends, right? It depends on boost amounts and, and momentum.
I'll read. We could tell what his instinct is because he explains it to us. He says his instinct tells him the goalie should stay in net and focus on defending any shot that comes at him, letting his teammate cut to force challenges or corner balls. But my friend says that the goalie should be leaving net to go for the ball since he has a positional advantage coming from the net, assuming the opponents have consistent pressure on us and there's no free ball. So there's no free ball here. It's like the opponents have the ball, or the opponents are about to shoot. The opponents are about to hit it mid. The opponents have the ball.
It still depends. Okay, it depends on like...
It does, yeah.
So everything in rugby depends. So it's not just a specific like answer to this question. It depends on boost amounts. It depends on momentum, because those are the two things that dictate how fast we can get to a position, right? So if the guy in net has 0 boost, he's at absolute 0, and he's stood still, well, he can't really push out and get enough speed to like get a great challenge. He might still get a piece of the ball, but it's not like confirmed. In that instance, I don't mind if this guy tries to push out and goes for the challenge. Let's say that a shot's about to happen and he tries to push out and blocks a shot like that. That's probably correct to do, even if you're on 0 boost. It's also probably correct for this guy to do the exact same, though a double commit would happen. And in that position, unfortunately, you're just in a terrible position, and that's the best play you can hope for, because you're going to cover most angles, and that's fine. Okay, let's say this guy has 100 boost, and he's in this position. The ball is, let's say it's like here, right? And the opponent's behind it. I would prefer if this guy goes here, because he's got an advantage towards the angle. He's already like goal
if
side.
There's like a shot, for example.
Exactly. He's already goal side, or if not even a shot. Like let's say the opponent's about to make a touch like this, like that, and then they might shoot after, right? Like let's say they do that type of play. It's still better for this guy to push out, in my opinion, because they just have a good angle. They're goal side already. They're behind the ball, and it's nice. But with all this like in mind, it's also sometimes fine for this guy to do it the exact same thing. It depends on if this guy is like in net, is about to turn in a weird way and like shadow.
Is he backwards?
Is he backwards?
If he's backwards,
if he's stationary or if he's backwards, well then this guy needs to go. It completely it changes so much, and it also changes if the player's in the air. Right? If the player's in the air, and it now depends on who can get to the backboard the quickest and easiest, because that player will never challenge, right? Then it has to be the other player that challenges. Let's say usually it's going to be this. Usually this guy is best to go to the backboard. Would you agree with that, Johnny? Like this guy is like easiest to. He's just already there, and he's easiest
compared to the guy in the net.
Yeah, compared to the guy in the net. So it's like, okay, he's always going to go to the backboard, so then the net guy needs to challenge. But there's a big but, because if this guy, for whatever reason, decides to push out and turn like this, which sometimes does happen.
Yeah, it does happen sometimes.
Then, if you're in this back post position, you have to realize my teammates made a mistake. Sure, like you can't mistakes happen. Now it's up to us to correct that mistake.
Yeah, we have to go because you can see.
You have to go. You have to just jump, even if you're not maybe you don't think you should, or. And let's say last scenario that I'm going to cover. Let's say you both do it at the exact same time, right?
You both go up the backboard at the same time.
You both go to the backboard. Unfortunately, you have to realize that now you've both done it. One of you has to commit, and it's better for 2 of you to commit than 0, which means that you both have to jump. You both have to jump because your teammate might not, right? That's the issue. Like So then one of you has to jump and play the ball and try and force it to the backboard, and you kind of play the low option as well, because you basically can't get faked in that position. You're both high, and so you have to both kind of jump, and it gets very awkward. So
it's tricky. Yeah.
The answer.
And then are we in comms? Because there is no one answer this.
Yeah.
Are we in comms? Because if we're in comms, it fixes everything. Because now we know, okay, you're intentionally queuing with this guy. You can even have a plan for what to do in this situation, which is what it sounds like is going to happen. If this is your friend, you guys can have a plan for what to do. Like Jack said, if it's in the air, you want the guy in the net to jump first because he can't get to the backboard easily. If it's a shot, a guy in the net can probably go for the save or dive out to challenge it because he's got a better angle. However, if it's zero momentum, backwards, awkward, no boost, can't get out there, cut is absolutely fine. It's all situational. If you communicate, what you've got to tell before what your capabilities are. There's no point in waiting till the shot's about to happen and then saying, I'm going, because by then it's too late. It's better for when you see your teammate in net, your friend needs to be telling you that he's behind you, and that informs you that you can go, because the net is now covered by someone that's rotating back. Whereas if you feel like this is awkward for whatever reason, you don't want to go, or you see the ball going up into the air, you can either communicate that you would want them to go for you. It's like, can you go? It's fine to say ahead of time. Or you could just say, I'm going, obviously. But if you're not in comms, if this happens randomly, like Jack is highlighting in a ranked game, you as the back post player usually have to be the one improvising because you can see everything. The guy in net can't.
Yes, absolutely.
Because if you see him making what you perceive to be a misplay by going when he shouldn't or not going when he should, you usually just have to do the other thing.
Exactly. The back post player has to
be.
They have to be ready to adapt, right? Like because they have more vision, like Johnny said, they have to be ready to change what they were initially planning on doing and react to what their teammate is doing. We've also got to. This is the last thing I'm going to speak about. The answer to the question most of the time is that your friend is unfortunately right. I wouldn't say you're right in this position because the net guy should go. The net guy should go most of the time here, I think anyway, because you don't want to be defending a shot really whilst you're here and the shot is coming at you from this angle, because they can shoot top right. They can also shoot behind you, top left, and you can't really jump like that and get that save. You can, but it's very hard. It's like you have to pre-jump it basically in that position. Whereas if you're challenging, you just have such a straight-on challenge. It's just a nice angle to challenge from. Whereas if you're this guy and you're defending a shot, yes, like part of your net is technically open, but if we have momentum, if we have like 100 boost and we're boosting, well, we can very quickly get to that side of the goal. We can save that type of shot. We can also save a shot to this side of the goal because we're closer to it and the player's in front of us still. Basically, all the shots are in front of our car, which means we can move into them. Whereas if we are here, a lot of the shots are kind of behind us, and we have to awkwardly move to jump backwards and get a save. So you always want the defending, like the last guy, to have most of the options covered with what they can jump into. And that would be the back post player in that position.
Yeah. Hopefully we provided enough context there, because it isn't just about this is what works every time, because that's not how Rocket League works. There will be situations where you're feeling awkward in net and you don't want to go. You could just tell your teammate, how can you go? Simple. Even if they don't think it's the right idea, it's better to both fully commit to one play than to have both of you be like, oh, can you go? No, I think you should go. No, I think you should go. And then nobody goes. Like Jack said, you need to commit to something. And if your teammate, generally in Rocket League, if your teammate says, can you challenge? It's because they want you to challenge, or say, oh, somebody challenge for me. Or, oh, somebody go, I'm awkward. Just saying that you're awkward, because sometimes you just feel awkward and you don't feel like you can go or challenge easily. Just say so, and your teammate can hopefully be in a good position and challenge for you. And yeah, if you're solo queuing, gotta try and get a read on what your teammates what they're up to. Maybe take a glance with the left or right stick and see if they're a more aggressive player who's just cutting a lot or challenging a lot. Maybe they're more passive and they're always going backboard and hoping you challenge. Then you just have to adapt. But
if you're solo queuing, you have to adapt like in every position. You have to be ready to adapt. So that kind of goes for like every. You can't
get tilted by the misplays, because this is tricky. As you can probably tell by how many different answers there are to this question. There are going to be mistakes when you're not in comms and you're solo queuing with a player you're not familiar with. You're gonna mess this up. It's fine. It happens. You just gotta move on. Okay, penultimate question here from DMan10345. He says, I have a seemingly simple but maybe complex meta question. I know watching your own replays, especially when you lose, could be very beneficial to improving. My issue is I often watch back and either don't know who made the mistake or what the better option was. Should I be asking myself something like, regardless of whose fault the conceded goal was, what could I have done better to prevent that goal? If so, is learning what the solution should be just a mixture of trial and error and learning over time? It's a good question.
That's a very good question. I mean, look, you have to, you get this, I mean, I have my own solutions, but they might not be like what, Zen thinks the solution is, for example. You know what I mean? Like, you have to, you kind of just gather what your solution is based off your experience for what wins you games, right? Like, you have to, let's say you watch a mistake in replay, and then you go, oh, well, okay, first off, you have to at least come to a conclusion. You can't just go, I don't know what the mistake was. Everyone can identify at least what they think the mistake is. Whether they're right or wrong, I mean, it's definitely a question, but I don't think you have to be too concerned about it, because at least if you're at least confident in the decision that you've made is somewhat correct, you're going to make at least a better decision when you get into that plane the next time you kind of get around to it. And it's better to make like a 5 out of 10 decision very confidently than it is to make a 7 out of 10 decision like a little bit hesitantly, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so we have to. That's the first thing. We have to make sure that we're not like doubting ourselves with, is this the perfect decision? You're never going to come up with the perfect decision, perfect solution. So don't be concerned about it. Just at least come up with a solution that what you think is correct, and for good reason. You have to at least have a good enough reason why you think a solution is correct. And then what was the next part of the question?
Yeah, the other part is quite interesting as well. So it's more like a mentality switch. Instead of D-Man's asking, instead of the goal being identifying whose fault it was, do we try and figure out what could we have done to prevent that goal, even if it wasn't my fault?
Absolutely,
and I actually really like that mentality switch. I think it's a great mentality to go into replays with, because if your replay reviews all boil down to, oh wow, all my teammates suck, and I'm actually never at fault for goals because I'm such a low-risk player. My teammates are the cause of every single goal, so I've got nothing I need to work on. Then you're probably missing a lot of opportunities where you could be covering for those mistakes and learning about how to better, help your teammates succeed by having that additional mentality. I'm assuming you've already tried this, D-Man, if you're even suggesting it, but I like it.
Really
going in with the mentality of what could be done to prevent this goal? What could I do better to stop that from happening? Or what could I do to guarantee that our team scores goals? And what, in the more positive light, don't just watch bad replays. Look at replays where you think things were good and you want to know why. You go and look at, okay, what did I do that enabled the success here? What did my teammate do that enabled the success? Trying to figure out how to amplify those successes could be just as important as how to minimize the losses.
I actually did this. I made like a very conscious kind of thing to do this my entire time playing Rock League, like over the last 10 years now. Like I would always think like, a goal went in, even if like sometimes you still know it's your teammate's fault, but what could you have done differently, right? That's a very healthy, to an extent, it's a very healthy kind of like mindset to have, because if people actually always ask me, Johnny, like, how do you not like get tilted in, like teammates and stuff? Well, like sometimes I do. Okay, straight up, that's like everyone does. But a lot of the time I don't, because I'm also analyzing like, they made a mistake. I know that mistakes are going to happen. What could I have done differently? And I think it is a good mindset to help with tilt, right? Like I've always been pretty good at managing like how annoyed I get in ranked and stuff always, because I can like see that mistakes are going to happen and that I could have also done something differently. You have to figure that out. But you can also still gain insight from looking at your teammates' mistakes. Because even if you're not analyzing your own plays, you're still improving your understanding of the game when you're like analyzing game situations, even if it's not yourself. So,
especially at your rank. The rank
especially at your rank. So if you're in a replay and you notice a mistake from your teammate, just take a few seconds. What was that mistake? It was this. What should he have done? It was this. Okay. Now, what could I have done differently as well to help this play out? Right?
Because it's going to happen again.
Exactly.
If you especially if you think it is. You look at this is likely to happen again.
Exactly. You look at both, because once you look at your teammate's mistake, well, let's say in 5 games time, you all of a sudden find yourself in the position that your teammate was actually in. Well, now you know, last time my teammate did this, it ended in the goal. I'm going to do something differently. And then, let's say 2 games later, the exact same situation happens as the original one, where your teammate makes a mistake in the corner. or something, and you can do something a little bit differently to help prevent it. And this time, you make a different decision. It can help increase your chances of not conceding or maybe even making it into a good play. So, yeah, you have to look at both. I would say that's probably your best bet. I wouldn't say spend too long on it. Like, I think people can very easily overanalyze replays and overdo replays. It's very important if you can train. I don't know how you do this. Like, I think sometimes it's just about trying. Like, if you can train being able to recognize mistakes in the moment, in game, and fixing them in the exact same game, like in the 5 minutes. It's easier to do this in 1v1 because a lot of goals
1v1,
happen. Yeah. A lot of goals happen, and you can... I actually think that's how you train it. I think I was very good at this when I was like ranking up, like analyzing in the moment and seeing what was going wrong and then fixing it in the exact same game. Because of 1v1, so many goals happen. It's like a reset point at every single time.
As well.
And so, yeah, exactly. You can very easily make conscious decisions of what you're going to change at each moment after a goal happens. So I think that's very important. It's a very important skill to learn. How you learn it, I don't know. Whether you can or not, it's just about maybe trying it. Because having to do it in replays is fine. I don't want to deter you from watching replays, but be careful of overdoing it because it's not as important as being able to do it in the game.
We don't have all the time in the world for that as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like no one has the time
to. It's a game. We've got to play the game.
We've got to have fun and play.
We've got all the time to be watching all the replays and analyzing, and then you've got into your play time. We've got to get the game.
Exactly.
Got to get the games in. Yeah. Before we move on to the last question, I've got. I like your point about the mentality switch in ranked, but not blaming, because actually, if you look at any player in any game who's pushing for rank 1 or really, really high rating, they're usually top of the scoreboard, absolutely carrying any lower rated teammate that they get. They always carry. Now, if you, as any other rank than top 100 player, if any rank below, are doing that, if you're having a session where that is happening, you're carrying every single game, you're top of the scoreboard every game, some people will actually get annoyed and they're like, this is something frustrating. When am I going to get a teammate on my level? Why do I have to carry every game and I'm still 50% wins, or maybe even lower? Maybe you're like 20% wins, so you're just having a bad sesh. But yeah, you should look at, if you look at any of the players who are actually making serious inroads to top 10, top 1, they're doing that. They're carrying every game and they're not upset about it. They're like, they view it more like an opportunity. Every game where they just have popped off in the first 30 seconds, they've scored 3 goals all by themselves. The opponents have scored 3 goals. Maybe your teammates messed up for all of them. You check the scoreboard, you're in 500 points, your teammate's got 10. The pros and high-rated players, they're not as easily annoyed by that. They just shrug it off and they just keep carrying. Whereas I think our more normal players,
I actually think they get annoyed, but they do, like you said, they shrug it off. Like that's the difference.
Yeah, they might mention it, but then they'll be like, well, got to lock in.
That's the difference.
My teammate's a bot, I've got to lock in.
Yeah,
not that kind of bot, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You have to look at it like an opportunity, because that's the end of the game. If you win and you've hard carried, you're gonna feel pretty good. So every time that you're needing to carry, it could end up as a good thing. You shouldn't look at it as
last thing I want to throw in real quick, because I was thinking about it and I forgot to mention it, but it's a good mindset to have, but to an extent. It's like with everything, because if you get to the point where there's one player, like certain players can do this, where they get to a point where they're analyzing what they could have done better on every single goal, where sometimes you've just got to like realize it's your teammate's fault, and don't overanalyze it. Like I had this issue of TempoH sometimes in scrims. Like he would always be like, oh, I could have, like, I don't know, let's say I just shot the ball top right in my own net. He'd be like, oh, I could have pre-jumped.
And Tempo's trying to blame himself.
No, I was like, no, just don't, because to an extent, because I did the same, like at certain points, and you have to be very careful with, because it affects your confidence. You always think that, I could have done something better. I could have done something better.
I'm so
you
bad.
have to manage that, and you have to be very careful with tipping, going over the line a little bit with it, because it can.
But then some other players, so you have to do that. You have to babysit them by having to share the blame for everything, even if they have just top bins and own goal for no reason. You still have to share the blame for them, or they're going to be tilted for the whole tournament. So it gets very personal, and you have to know what kind of people you're working with. But
I guess that's like
a Tempo mentality there, to try and take the blame for Jack's top bins own goal.
I swear to God, sometimes I just like turn, no, not actually, but let's say I just turned around shooting the boy, but I should have just like Squishy saved and then ground punched it in. Like, I was like, no, my bad. It's my fault. Like, let me apologize.
And more like relatable, I guess, because that's not something I don't think we're going to need to have to worry about managing. Too many of us, at least, are going to need to worry about managing personalities in pro play or like highly competitive scenarios. But if a mistake is just so obviously your teammate's fault or not your fault, and it's really unlikely that you're going to face that problem again, then yeah, you just brush it off. It's like, okay,
exactly.
My teammates just own goal for absolutely no reason. Do I need to worry about that one happening, very often every game? Probably not.
And also,
it's very unlikely. Let's just brush
I've said this
now
like 60 times. Like you're on a team with them. Whether you're on a team with them for like, you're only going to be on the team with them for like 5 minutes, most likely. Okay.
Yeah.
How can you make them play better? Is it about, when they say sorry, is it about you quick chatting going like, okay, or something, or wow, or, being toxic?
Okay.
Or is it about just saying no problem and instantly skipping the replay? It's obviously, you're obviously going to make them play better by just moving past the mistake
what you're saying, you shouldn't say okay and then watch the replay right up until the point where they mess up and then you skip the replay.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's the best way to make your teammate play.
It's pretty funny though. I mean,
no, I mean I've done it. We've all done it. We've all been there. We'll all still be there. But how can you do it the least?
Yeah. What do you? I mean, all about what do you want? Do you want to annoy them? Because some people do just want to trigger people online. That's fine. But if you want to win, then yeah, probably higher percentage play is to let them know that, hey, don't worry, mistakes happen. We've got this. And you can make comebacks. But yeah, that's a long answer for that question. Hopefully it was relevant to you.
Hey, they're all long answers, Johnny. We're on the Next Rank channel, of course.
True. Yeah. But we got one more, and we'll put this one in this video as well. Sometimes we split these into different videos, but you guys are getting all of them today. So Evan O'Shea says, I struggle with making snap decisions when to use fast aerial versus a vertical takeoff aerial. It's clear to me how much faster a fast aerial is, but I struggle with being able to tell if I can get to the ball versus going under it because it's too close to me. Curious of your advice for how to improving that quick decision making, how to know when you can't make it to a ball with a fast aerial. So quickly, Jack, do you want to show obviously a fast aerial? Everybody, there's loads of tutorials on this where you're going forward with momentum and then you just perform a fast aerial. Versus a vertical takeoff aerial is the same thing, but you start off in reverse or from a standstill. And reverse is a bit of a cool technique that not many people know about because you're getting to fly pretty much straight up in the air because that little reverse at the start cancels out the brief forward momentum you get as you're boosting in the takeoff. So you basically fly straight up, and it's a cool little way that you can challenge directly above you
very quickly.
We put that video in the course in more detail. If you are interested in watching it, that is in the course, but that's just a quick demonstration of what it is. But yeah, how to know when the ball is in a position where it's going to go over you. I mean, it might sound like a cop-out answer, but it's just practice.
Yeah,
you just have to do it more, and as you do it more, you'll start to realize, okay, that one was under me, or no, that one is over me. I should maybe have used a vertical takeoff. That air dribble went over my head. Should probably have used a vertical takeoff. It if the more you do it, the more you're going to understand, and it might sound like a cop-out, but it is. Really
I always feel terrible with these types of questions because the answer is simply like it's just about reps, unfortunately, and it's like. It feels like a cop-out answer, but we're not going to sit here and, lie and try and create like something to attach onto that's just not going to help you. We're not going to. It's not going to help you. You're just wasting your time.
One thing that I could mention.
I mean, if I think about it, I could maybe.
Oh,
think
Jack, you
about
just muted yourself in Discord. We might be talking over each other.
Oh, hello.
I just know. Yeah, we were probably just talking over each other because I realized Jack muted himself on Discord. So sorry about that. Let's try that again. I don't know. What were you saying?
I don't know what I said, Joe. Did you hear my whole like? We're not going to pretend. You heard that, right? Like.
I heard you say that we're not going to pretend that there is something when there isn't. And then
I was like, if I took a minute, I could maybe think about like one small tip that could help it. And I'll try and think about that whilst you give your answer.
Okay. Yeah. So my one was quite simple. It's easier to fly down than it is to fly up in Rocket League. So if you're worried about the ball, like especially if somebody's air dribbling, or if there's somebody's about to make an aerial touch that you want to jump for before you see what the touch is going to be. So air dribble is the most normal situation that this will happen. If you're jumping to challenge an air dribble and you're directly in front of where they're going to be and you're just trying to figure out how high is it going to need to be.
Right.
Vertical takeoff is pretty good for that if you're not sure. Because if you realize, okay, we're actually a bit too high, you just point your nose of your car down and you fly down into the ball. It's a lot easier to do that than if you fly up with just a fast aerial, then you realize, Oh, they got a touch I wasn't expecting. Now, how do I fly higher? I can't. You're already committed so much momentum to your current trajectory. There's nothing you could do to get higher.
And slightly
really.
backwards because they're also moving the ball forward, and you're moving forward at the same time.
You're screwed.
So you need to,
yeah, hedge to go a bit higher than you expect, and then if you need to, you can dive down. But ultimately, you are trying to force your opponent over you. So there is a caveat to this. If you're not the last line of defense, if you are just the first player in your team who's challenging, it's actually okay if you force them to go over you. It's not the end of the world. It's actually preferable if they go over you.
As long as you have a teammate on the backboard.
If you have a teammate behind you or on the backboard.
Which you have to be very certain about, yeah.
Yeah, if it's just going into your net, then yeah, you have to be hitting the ball at some point. So that's just something to think about, though. It's not bad if you force them to go high just by jumping and getting nowhere near, but they go way over your head and then you just fly back down. But you're like, great, I forced a couple touches just by jumping a millimeter off the ground.
That's a good answer. Yeah, I won't steal your answer. I'll just say, yeah, that is the answer. Yeah,
you can steal it. It's fine.
Yeah, nice. You like hedge a little bit towards the side of like. You have to be safer. You have to still stay behind the ball. So in most situations, at least starting with kind of a vertical takeoff, because you can always change it last second, go towards the ball a bit if you need to. So also the other answer is, what do you do the most? Right? Like, do you, you're speaking of two mistakes. Which mistake do you make the most? And then do the opposite of that, right? Like, and you'll only know that yourself. We haven't seen your gameplay, so you'll know which one of those two things you do more often. Like, you accidentally vertical takeoff too much when you need to just fast aerial and get towards the ball, or do you accidentally fast aerial too much when you need to actually vertical takeoff and stay a bit more behind it? Whichever one you do the most, then actually just try and do the opposite next time, kind of thing. And chances are you're going to be right because you're making that mistake more often than not. So that's the answer to any question, really.
The vertical takeoff's really good if the ball's coming at you. Like if you're upfield and your teammate's passing the ball up to you and you're trying to drop it down or redirect, the vertical takeoff could be really good if you know that the ball's just coming at you quickly. And you don't really need to worry about the race. It's also, like we said, really good for challenging in defense because you just put yourself in the way. You're an obstacle that the opponent has to get by. However, it's not very good for winning aerial races. If the ball's just up in the air and you want to get there fast, flying up and then going like, okay, I've reached the correct altitude, and then flying forwards is very slow. That's why the fast aerial is the usual method that most aerial battles will be won or lost with. So bear that in mind. The vertical takeoff is situationally very useful, but the fast aerial is much more versatile and much more important.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's a good answer, Johnny. I think we've covered all the questions.
Yeah, we don't go in with the goal of talking for an hour. It answers these questions, but hopefully you guys don't mind because we do like to go in depth, and that's what we do in the course as well. So if this is the kind of discussion that you like, you'll love the Next Rank course. If you want a quick, short video, 50 seconds on one topic, a minute on another, then this is not the channel for you because that's not what we really do here. Maybe we will go into short content in the future, but the course is very much long form and very in-depth, and we want to make content similar to that so people aren't confused when they look at the course and see something completely different that they weren't expecting. But you can take a look at our free course if you want an actual sample at nextrank.com/free. Join the Discord, links are in the description. And that's all our questions for this video. We might take more from members in the near future, but that's all for this one.
Guys, we do have a bunch of other videos on the channel as well, so make sure you go and check them out. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.